We're back with our 3 mistakes series. Kislev. All right, we had a similar mention of this type of thing in the Nurgle video, but it is important enough to bring up again for Kislev because they have a lot of hybrid units. Armored Kossars and Armored Kossars great weapons should not use their pistols before a melee engagement. They need to save their pistol shots for high value targets. So here we just have an Imperial officer on foot. I could put him on a horse or on, you know, Griffin or something. Doesn't really matter. The main point is one of these Armored Kossars is going to stop and fire at random Empire swordsmen and take a while to do a good bit of damage before getting into the fight. But then they're weird because as your front line, then they're going to be out of position and taking forever to get into the melee fight, while their brothers over here with all their pistol shots are already in the fight. They've dealt about as much damage as each other, but now one is a dedicated melee unit for the rest of the game, and the other one, you know, he has taken a bit more damage because he had to fight everything out in melee, but he will break these guys soon. And then you still have the options in the late game to fire at cavalry or to fire at flying units or single entities or something. Like this, we can see the firing line they set up, and they just light up the general of the Empire. And even with the silver shield and high armor, I mean, just the volume of fire of 100 pistols firing at you at point blank range is going to be pretty brutal. And then have them form up into a square so they get off better shots. But if you look at the damage value dealt by the 2 units, the one that shot at the Lord is going to have significantly more, 314 to 738. But they couldn't have done that much damage to the Lord in melee that quickly, right? Their stats are too low and the Lord is too small. So it is just generally better to save those pistol shots for big targets in later parts of the game. Maybe cavalry, right? Cavalry charging in, you can get some nice pistol shots off as they're trying to cycle charge a unit. Whereas the one that used all their pistol shots right away is now helpless, as the cavalry just charges in and out, in and out, in and out. The pistols can at least still punish them. So don't waste your pistol shots on random frontline units, is more of my point. Because armored Kossars can deal with random frontline units. Now maybe if like Slayers are charging at you, or giant Slayers or elite infantry, sure, maybe get your shots out because you know your Armored Kossar is going to die. But I see too many times people waste their pistol shots on randoms, and it's like, no, don't do that. Come on now. This next thing, I'm playing as the Empire, but I just kind of need to debunk a myth that CA has sold a lot of our newer players. Do not trust these hybrid units to be your front line. That doesn't work. We have Kossars, Kossar spears, Ice Guard with swords, Ice Guard with glaives, and then we have Auction ambushers. All these hybrid units with their hybrid stats and stuff, they cannot hold up to heavy cavalry. Like, they just can't do it. These spears eat a bit of a charge. They're taking a lot of damage. The Ice Guard with glaives are the only ones that can truly, like, I'm a hybrid infantry, so I can be my own front line, because their glaives are actually really good against Reiksguard and stuff. But, like, these Kossars, say they're a hybrid unit, they're getting trucked by my Reiksguard. These Ice Guard with bows, Reiksguard still murdering them. Auction ambushers getting murdered in the background. The Kossars of spears are doing all right versus the Ice Guard, the Reiksguard, but I do think they had some Auction ambusher fire help, because once we're in melee, you can see I'm not actually taking that much damage. So a lot of that damage came out from the range stuff before, because we've been hovering this for a while and I've taken like 300 damage. But yeah, the main point of mistake number 2 for Kislev is just when people try and do some kind of gamey tactic where they take ranged units as their front line and they're like, don't worry, they're hybrid. They're not cost effective for being hybrid. Infantry, heavy cav, monstrous infantry can kill a lot of these hybrid units way more cost effectively than you can, because you're paying, it is hybrid, right? So in its nature, you're paying for a range component that you're now not using. You might as well still treat them like ranged units. If they happen to get compromised, then you get the kind of the silver lining of hybrid stats helping you out a little bit, but you can't just treat them as either or. Like, they're either my front line or my back line. It's all good, bro. It's not all good, bro. They're still dying horribly. So the regular ones got less than 200 value. The spears just about paid for themselves. Auction ambushers didn't come close. Neither the wolf ones. Ice Guard glaives did fantastically. Ice Guard swords did horribly. So yeah, don't use any of the hybrid units of Kislev as a front line. Just use them. Their melee stats are last resort. The last mistake I have to say about Kislev is one of those rare ones where I'll caveat that some Kislev mains might disagree with nuances of this point, but remember, I'm making a broad statement to help the most people possible, not going to go through every situation you could possibly be in the game, but I see too many Kislev players take the Griffin Legion as the hyper elite heavy cav, their most elite heavy cav besides the Warbear Riders, those are monstrous cav, and then just charge them flat out into other heavy cav that has armor piercing. And I want to say, don't do that. Your only buff here is Glorious Charge. Your charge bonus is doubled in duration, I think. But anyway, charge bonus is duration is doubled. So you'll have your charge bonus longer than your other opponents. But when I see people just bump and grind in melee with other cav, but the other cav has armor piercing, it's generally not worth it. Like Orc Boar Boy Biggins are cheaper than your Griffin Legion, and they get a lot of damage out, especially if a Waz popped on them anytime soon. We have questing knights here, but think of Grail knights and stuff. I just see people go one for one, like I have elite cav, you have elite cav, and Kislev has glorious charge, so we're just gonna take this fight. And it's like, no, that is super not what this unit does. Griffin Legions lack significant armor piercing, so they'll trade even or worse with units that are less expensive and less important than they are, just because of that lack of armor piercing. So don't fire and forget your Griffin Legions into fights where they're outclassed, like the Fireborn or Wild Hunters of Kuranos or Great Stag Knights or things like that. It's just not a cost-effective way to be using this hyper elite cavalry. And once their glorious charge wears off, I mean, these quest knights have just stopped taking damage, and they're even in lance formation for no reason, just letting me get extra hits in. So yeah, it's pretty brutal. Griffin Legion aren't meant for cav v cav heavy cav fights. Now they can support heavy cav fights, or if you support them, or if they're blocking for archers or something like that, that's fine, but don't treat them like Grail Knights, because they're just not. They don't have armor piercing.
Subscribe, yes, yes.